Let me tell you a story. I would visit the houses and condominiums of really wealthy people because, I'm friends with some people that have done well in their life. I dwell in different circles, folks. And one thing that struck me about some of these folks who have bet everything on building the outer kingdom is that they achieved success, no doubt about it. They had the focus, they hustled really hard. And then I would be at their penthouse condominium on their huge patio, having some really fancy drink, looking at the art on their walls, very expensive, great. Then they're bragging about their stereo system, great. Everything is perfectly designed, interior decorator, this and that, great. But one thing struck me about visiting all these places, and the sensation that I had inside was, this is all nice. It's all shiny. It's all slick. But where is the life? Where is life? Just because you have a house, it doesn't mean that you actually have a home. Do you know the difference between a house and a home? If there is no inner home built within you, if you don't know who you are, if you don't have values, if you don't root yourself in a deep understanding of who you are and what your destination is, then everything that you will do out in the world will be superficial. It will be someone else's idea of success. Like my rich friends who would brag to me as a music producer about their stereo systems, which cost like $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. And they'd be like, what do you think, Tommy Zee? And I would be like, well, it's nice. I'm just not sure if I would ever be able to tell a difference past the $5,000 or maybe $10,000 point, and how the enjoyment of music for me has nothing to do with the price of a speaker. But that's besides the point. That's another video. The point that I'm saying is this. Your outer world, your outer kingdom, your outer home will reflect your inner home. So if you haven't taken the time within the depths of your own heart to discern what is your inner kingdom, what is your inner home, what is your foundation built upon, then everything you do outside will be influenced by the outside. You will not be like an oak tree, steady and stable and rooted in certain values and traditions, rooted in divine and timeless intelligence, but instead you'll be blown about by the winds of trends and feeds and streams and whatever else is there, right? So now, this is who I used to be. I used to be the guy who was chasing the world, chasing success, all of that stuff, right? And as I visited these fancy homes of my rich friends, I started to realize, man, this is not the answer. The answer is not to seek superficial prizes out there, to model your success based on the success of others. Everyone out there is pretending to be happy. No one on their Instagram feed is going to show you a messy condo or a messy house. I mean, that would be nice, right? That would be keeping it real. But the reality is, the version that you see in the feeds is not the real thing. And yet, you end up modeling your life based on that optimized version, edited version. This goes a lot deeper, guys. Build a home goes a lot deeper. Because when you build your inner home within your heart and it's based on a solid foundation, you want to invite an architect. Anytime you build a home, you want to invite an architect. Now, you can either invite an influencer with millions of views who's always smiling in their videos and say, yeah, that's what I want. That's what I'm going to chase. And dedicate your one and only precious life to modeling the life of an influencer. I mean, seriously? Or in order to build your home, you can invite the only architect worth inviting into your life, and that is God. The one who created the universe, the one who created you, the one who sustains the universe. Start having that conversation in your heart. God, how is it that you want me to build this home called my life, called me? What ideas should I start thinking about? Instead of wasting and scattering myself and my money on overpriced stereo systems and cars and interior decoration, which, if you're honest with yourself, will never provide you the fulfillment that you're looking for, ask the architect of existence. Why am I here, God? Why am I here? The one thing that I've realized, folks, is you don't need a mansion. Once you have the peace in your heart that comes from having a conversation with the source of existence, because then you're flooded with a certain peace, with a certain truth, with a certain realization that nothing can fulfill the hunger deep down in your heart. No thing can fulfill the hunger of your heart, because human beings are not born to be fulfilled by things. Somehow we were tricked into that at some point in time, but it's not true, okay? So when you build your inner kingdom, I want you to invite the architect, the main architect, the original architect. And in the silence that you will carve out for yourself throughout the day, I want you to ask, why am I here, Lord? If you don't believe, I want you to do it anyway, okay? You have nothing to lose. And if you believe, you will already know what I'm talking about. Tuning in to the timeless transmission in your heart where you make the connection with God. That's where you ask, why am I here? How do you want me to build, Lord? Because all of my ideas are from Instagram. Surely we can do better than that. So build a home. Now, what happens when you build a home is you start knowing who you are. When you start knowing who you are, you start getting away from certain environments and certain people that no longer serve those values that you want to stand for. When you start attaching yourself to timeless principles and timeless values, you'll realize just how much junk there is in your life. Just how many people are operating on a frequency that is, I don't even know how else to put it, but it's a shame. It's a shame that as God's children, they lowered themselves to such a base frequency where they're only operating according to their senses. And they're not inviting the soul into their life. Imagine you're a submarine, right? And your periscope is your eyes and ears, right? You see a siren over here. You're like, hey, let's go over there. You see a shiny object over there. Hey, let's go over there. You see an island over here. Hey, let's go over there. That's not how you lead a meaningful life. You lead a meaningful life by defining a meaningful destination. And then despite the sirens, despite the shiny object, despite islands that are not your destination, there is a captain below who's using the periscope and the senses, your eyes and ears, to orient yourself in the world on your way to somewhere meaningful and not living a life full of distraction, shallow distraction. What happens when you build a home within and you start understanding who you are and you start connecting to God? You start respecting yourself more. You start having dignity. You start knowing who you are and knowing which places and people you should be dealing with and which places and people you shouldn't be a part of. And then you know what happens? When you start living from your soul, that's when you increase your chances of meeting your soulmate. Do you see how beautiful this is? When you live from your senses, like I did for a large part of my life, there is a good chance that you'll think you'll be looking for a soulmate, but you'll only be looking with your eyes. Your heart will not be in the game. God will not be in the game. Only your senses will be in the game. Your lust, your desires, your whims and wishes. And so you'll say you're looking for a soulmate, but instead you'll be looking for someone attractive to give you pleasure. You see what I'm saying? That's not love. Love is giving yourself. Love is sacrifice. Love is surrendering your whims and wishes to a higher ideal in which you can share with another person. Both of you surrender yourselves to participate in a higher reality called love. Do you see what I'm saying? I didn't understand all of this until I started constructing my inner kingdom instead of chasing the outer palaces of the world. The highest likelihood you have of meeting your soulmate is actually living from your soul. That's the best way I can put it for you. And then when you meet your soulmate, I want you to move on to task number 2, the essential task of life number 2, raise a child. So we have build a home and we have raise a child. There is no other spiritual gym that will elevate you in every way possible, that it will improve you as a person in every way possible, like the heavy lifting that is creating a family. That is what I call a spiritual gym. Why? None of us will work out as hard as we possibly can without a personal trainer. We will always take the path of least resistance. So the home is a beautiful and genius concept created by God. Family is a beautiful, genius concept created by God, where everybody gets to get better together with the help of each other, each one contributing in different ways. But all the heavy lifting that you do, just like you do it in the gym, it's a bit painful, you sweat, maybe you bleed a little, but what happens? You end up getting bigger muscles, right? It's the same thing within family life. You are surrounded by personal trainers called your loved ones, where you get to build and develop and strengthen your virtues. Not the superficial bullshit of personality that's trying to please other people in the world. No. You learn things like patience, perseverance, okay? You learn to actually surrender yourself for the good of others. And all of this is real. It's rooted right inside of your four walls within your home and your family. That's what I find interesting. I don't find the sparse, beautifully interiorly designed, fancy artwork, fancy stereo apartments to be impressive. I want to see dirty diapers. I want to see toys on the floor. All right? I want to see some books on the shelf. I want to see signs of life, people. All right? I want to see signs of life. Create a life. I mean, have you ever heard of anything more astonishing than our capability and the power, should we choose to use it, to create life, to invite someone else on this earth and teach them how this game works? This is why good people like you watching this should create a life and teach it timeless principles and values. Teach it how to conduct a conversation with God in their hearts. That's how we know the future of the world is going to be great. Folks, there is no miracle like bringing life onto this earth and watching it grow, and then having them watch you while you do your work, your labor of love. Okay? And that's the third essential task in your life. Plant a tree. Folks, what does planting a tree symbolize? It symbolizes work, but not work for work's sake. It's work that gives life. It's work that sanctifies you. It's work that makes you a better person. This is what we have to teach our kids about work. It's not about landing your dream job, although that's nice. It's about learning how to work. Work to improve your virtues. Okay, to acquire the virtue of patience, diligence, reliability, all that stuff. That's what planting a tree symbolizes. Trees give oxygen, trees give life. Productivity. Who cares about productivity? You got to be purposeful in your life. Only 3 tasks, folks. Have your kids watch you at work. Show them the mindset of diligence, of reliability, responsibility, courage. It doesn't matter if you love your job. I mean, it's nice if you love your work, but show your kids how to do a job well, even if you don't love it. For the sake of the family, for the sake of sacrifice of self to a bigger idea. That's what this is all about. Build a home, okay? Your inner kingdom, values, God, decide your destination. Who are you? What do you stand for? Know that when you go out in the world so that people perceive that you're operating on a different frequency. You're not a superficial leaf being blown about by the winds of trends. All right? You're someone who stands for something. That's how you attract quality people in your life. And I hope one of these quality people will be your soulmate. Someone who you can surrender to, along with them, to the higher concept of love. Okay? And then together, you can raise a child. Bring life onto this earth. And then once you bring life onto this earth, this life will learn from you how this game is played by watching you. They're not going to listen to you. They're going to watch what you're doing. So that makes you have to step up your game. You have to become a better person. That's why this is a genius setup created by the Almighty God to keep things running smoothly. Unfortunately, so many of you get away from this setup and you start building long to-do lists of whatever. Throw your to-do list away. All you need to get great at is these 3 tasks. These 3 tasks are going to determine the level to which you are fulfilled. Build a home, raise a child, plant a tree together with your child. I'll see you in the next video.